Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We will start with the question and answers section of the previous session that we had related to introduction. So, our first question was, what are the available connection types in SAP Analytics Cloud? And there are two correct answers. So, the answer is we have a live connection where the data will be stored in the backend. It will be extracted in the runtime. And the other connection type is the import connection, where we will extract the data and store it in SAP Analytics Cloud. We can manually extract it, or we can also schedule a job to extract the data or refresh the data on a specific interval. So the correct answer is live and import. Our next question is, which SAP Analytics Cloud feature use natural language processing? That means in a natural language, you can just type it, whatever you want to visualize. You select a model and then you type it. Okay, I want to see the total units sold in quarter one of 2025, kind of. So, which feature uh, provides that option is just ask feature. So, our correct option is just ask feature. Next question was, you are designing a story, for example, and you want the size and position of the widget to adjust dynamically for viewing on different devices and screen sizes. So which page type you must use? So as I said, you should use a responsive page type, because responsive page type adjusts the size automatically based on the device. Okay. Next question was, you are using a live connection for a model where the data is stored. So as I said, in case of live connection, the data is extracted in the runtime. That means it is not stored in SSC, but it is stored in the source system. So the correct answer is source system. Which page type is recommended when designing a story? So SAP recommends to use a responsive page type when designing a story. Why? Because throughout the organization, different people have different laptops, different desktops, or different devices, the size of the devices. So if you'll go with responsive, maybe it will not be the same experience for everyone. So better to go with the, sorry, if you go with canvas, but if you go with the responsive, the size of the dashboard will get adjusted based on the length and size of the device. So correct answer is responsive. What are the presentation types for digital boardroom available? So there are two correct answers for this. One is like you can create a dashboard in a digital boardroom, or you can create an agenda. So these two options are there. So once we will create a digital boardroom, we will see the other options, like what are the functionalities of dashboard and what are the functionalities of agenda. So these were the six questions from the first session of SAP Analytics Cloud. Let's move to the our second session, which is about dataset. So starting with the definition, a dataset in SSC is a simple, lightweight data object used for quick analysis and self-service reporting. So what do you mean by lightweight? So basically, if you have any data sample data um, from any system, or you have any manual data in existing in your system, a local machine, and you don't want to do an extensive development, but you simply want to upload that data set and produce a quick SSC story. So then dataset is very helpful, because it doesn't take as much as time as it is required for the models. And how you can, what are the sources of the data sets? You can upload the data from Excel, CSV, Google Sheets, or even from backend systems using an import connection, or from live connections as well. So you can upload the data, and then once the data is uploaded, you can perform certain transformations that is available in the data sets, and you are ready to go building your story and visualization. So this is the definition. Now, it is sometimes very confusing for everyone, that if model has all the capabilities and all the things, why do we need a data set? Because we can perform most of the almost everything in model. So the purpose is, if you have any ad hoc task, like for example, if there is a file being came from the management or your manager, and they simply ask you, can you generate a report out of it and share it to me? So there are two ways: either you can create that report in PowerPoint presentation or Excel sheet, or you can directly leverage that ad hoc file and upload it into SSE, and then you can build a dashboard on top of it. The advantage of doing that will be that story will stay there. Okay, then the same story you can also use, and it is easier to share if your users are already on SSC. Then sharing the stories and the insights is easier. So as for the name, you can see, for ad hoc quick analysis and data exploration. And however, for model, it is for structured, governed analytics, planning, and enterprise reporting. So wherever you have multiple sources or even a single source, but there may be multiple sources involved, and there is complexity of the data. The data needs to be refreshed based on the business needs, like every hour, sometimes real-time data for operational or some critical reports, or sometimes monthly upload or monthly refresh, so or daily refresh. So the refresh is needed, data access control is needed. So if all the features and extensive feature, it needs to be developed using a model. So compared to the data set, it will be more time consuming because you will be defining the properties, how the data will refresh, what are the dimensions, what are the measures, and so many things will be there. So that is why, if you need to end enterprise reporting, go ahead with the model instead of data set. Now for data preparation, it's very simple. In a data set, you can just simply upload or fetch the data. There are certain functionalities provided using which you can transform the data, or even if you can use custom editor to write a formula for any derivations. Okay, so those derivations you can perform, and it is quick to go. However, in model, it requires you need to define the measure, the dimensions, the hierarchies, the relationships. Also, you can have the calculated dimensions, and all those stuff are there. So this is more like for a particular field. You also need sometimes the short text, long text, all those stuff you need to do in the model. Then, from governance point of view, a limited governance often used for self-service. So, as I said, whatever data you load, you can share with the user. There is no option that within that data set you can restrict any specific data. So, for example, there are 10 company codes, and you are using a data set, and you want that I only want to share the data for only these two company codes based on the user group. So, those data access control and all are not part of the data set. If that is your requirement, go with the model. But if everything you are okay, you don't need any data restriction when you share this data set, then you can just simply use it. Otherwise, go ahead with model where you have centralized governance and reusability. So the same model can be used to create multiple stories, and data access can be controlled either in SSC if it's an import model, or in the backend system it's a live model. In terms of reusability, usually tied to a specific story, you can create multiple stories, but as it's a ad hoc or quick analysis purpose, most of the cases it will be like tied with one story, or one or two or minimal story. However, when you create a model, you think of any finance related model where you have the general ledger transaction information, so that same model can be reused for n number of business reportings with different KPIs and derivations. So this can be reused for multiple storage applications, even for planning purposes, where we can have the actuals and then respective planning versions we can copy. For feature supported, we have basic calculations. So we have two types of transformation. One is transform bar, which provides a very quick transformation options, and then we have the custom editor where you can write certain data functions. Okay, and you can also blend the data, filter the data. In model, advanced features like data action, allocation drivers, planning authorization, etc. So you can perform several data manipulation and data upload things in models. So models have more features compared to dataset. Performance wise, dataset is usually suitable for small or medium datasets. However, models can be used even in case there is a large scale enterprise data. From maintenance point of view, it is managed by the business user, because most of the time business, you can use dataset if you are from the IT team, and before going into full-fledged development of anything, you have an offline data available in Excel, and later on you think that I will integrate the data from the backend system later on. So to prepare a mock-up design, it is also sometimes used that you just upload the Excel to create a data set, and using that data set you can create a mock-up story and showcase to your business users that how the KPI or the story will look like before going to the full-fledged development. It will save some effort. And however, in model, it is usually managed by the IT or the central analytical team. So these are the basic functionalities that is available in a dataset. As I said, we have a transform bar where you can perform certain basic transformations. Then we have custom expression editor. So in custom expression editor, you can use the data function, if else logic, or many options are there. We will see how we can use that. Geo enrichment is in case you want to create a geo map in your story. Then you need to enrich your column which is providing the information about the geo map. It can be latitude and longitude based on the map, or it can be any specific country, region, or area. So accordingly you need to do the geo enrichment, so that the system will identify, okay, how to show the specific data point on the map. Then you have level based hierarchy. So you can also create level based hierarchy in data sets. So for example, you have level 1, level 2, level 3, category, subcategory, product, and all. So you can prepare it as an hierarchy, so that you can see it in the report as a top node, as a summarized data, and then you can drill down into further details to check for each of the records. Then you can also transform columns to rows. So if suppose there is a column which you want to transpose to rows, so that you will get all this, because sometimes the data is in a specific format that you need to change. So for that reason, transpose is required. Even in Excel, if you are working or using Excel very frequently, many of the times, for example, if you have a header called January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So you have 12 columns, for example. But in your data set, you don't need these 12 columns. Instead, you say that I need this 12 columns as a single column called month. So in those cases, transpose columns to rows will be helpful. You can also, like, if you are not aware that whether there are duplicate records or not, then you can use this option to delete the duplicate rows. In case there is a change in the source, or source can be Excel file, source can be any system, but if any data is changed, then you can also re-import the data. So re-import, what does it removes the older data and updates the latest data. So it's not like a delta or something as we can achieve using model, but it's always like you can't run update or only delta records in dataset always updates the data as a full load. That means it will replace the entire data with the new data. So for example, previously your Excel or the source has 100 records. Now you deleted 10 records in that Excel, and you modified 2 records. That means currently your Excel is having 90 records with 2 modified records. Now when you refresh the data, it will delete all 100 records first, and then it will fetch those 90 records with the updated values. So that is how the re-import works. Then you also have a sorting option. While visualizing the data, you can also sort it if you want to check something while performing the transformations. So let's move to the demo session, and we'll quickly see like what all things we can do using our um, data sets. Okay, so now we have logged into our SAP Analytics Cloud system. So from here we will go to the data set. So even if you can expand this, you can click on data set, and in data set there are two options. One is like you can load the data from CSV or Excel file, or you can load it from data source. So before loading it, so for this demo purpose we will be using an Excel file, but before doing that, let me show you what data sources are available. So when you click on the data source, you see there is connect to live data. So this is also possible, and when you hover over it, it says you can use data repository to create live data set from your on-premise data sources and write back them write the data back to them. So live connectivity is also possible. Live data repositories are also there from SAP HANA. Then apart from that, we have acquired data. So most of the time you will be using an acquired data for this data set. So whenever you use an acquired data, SAP, so you need to know that it doesn't provide you an option to schedule the refresh because it's an ad hoc thing. It is not like a model that you can schedule a refresh and every now and then the data will get refreshed from the backend. So it's an ad hoc thing, and if any data got changed in the backend of the source and you want to replicate it, you need to manually refresh it. That is called as re-import. So then the latest data will appear. Okay, so to create a data set, click on the create option and then select the source. So I have this sales order data available with me as a sample data. I will also attach this data so that you can use it for the training purpose. So my first row is the column header, so I will take this and click on import. I can give name to my data set, let's say sales order data, and click save. So data is getting loaded. Okay, so data is now loaded, so we can simply view the data how it looks like. So I will just hide this to make the screen a little bit bigger, and also hide this for the time being. And you see we have the order ID, customer, then we have the region, order date, product, we have the product category, we have the product code, the comments, the unit price, and the quantity. Okay, so we have all these options available. Now you see at the top there is a sorting option. Okay, so currently it is sorted. For example, if I select this and sort A to Z. Okay, so it is already sorted A to Z. Now you can see the columns are now sorted in the order. So starting with C, then O, then P, then Q, then RS, and respectively. The columns are sorted in the respective order. So this is how you can sort a column, or you can move to the default order. Okay, so this option is used. You can sort the columns. So many of the times you have a very lengthy data set, and to find a specific column is difficult. Then this sorting will help you if you sort it in the ascending order or descending order. So that's the purpose of this sorting. Then we will see how we can perform the data transformations. So for example, here we have the customer name. Okay, so just click on the header and then you see these two options. What is those two options? One is like, if you don't need this column, you can delete it. Or if you want to manipulate the data, you can create a duplicate column and then you can do the manipulation. So what I will do, I will not change anything to the original column. I will create a duplicate column. Okay, so this duplicate column is created with a suffix called the previous column name underscore one. Now I will perform a transformation. So there are several transformation you will see. So as you can see, the tool is very strong. It automatically understands what I am trying to do, because this is a full name. It is suggesting us you can split based on the space, and you can get the customer first name and last name. Similarly, you can use the transform option if that is not suggesting to you. And here you have these six options: concatenate, split, extract, replace, change, and filter. So these six options you have from the transform bar. In this case, because we want to split the data, we will use a split option. Now, this transform bar says you want to split the customer name underscore one column on delimiter. So delimiter you need to provide. What is our delimiter? Our delimiter is space. So you put space. So how many times you want to do? So sometimes your data has multiple spaces. So it asks how many times. So let's suppose you have first name, middle name, last name. So, or maybe some other scenarios where you'll have multiple delimiters. So you can write it how many times you want to repeat, two times, three times. So that is the repeat option. And then click enter. Okay. So once you entered it, these columns are created. Now what you have to do is, you can see these columns created over here. You just click on these columns, there is an icon, and you can rename these columns. Okay, so maybe this will be customer first name. Okay, I'll description, I will just simply put like this. Okay, so this is for the description. So this is customer first name, and then I will go back to the another column, and here I will give customer last name. Okay, so these two columns are created. Now here you see for each column you also have an option like, in case system takes it automatically but it is not correct, then you can change the data type from here. So in our case it is string only, but in case sometimes system understands date as a string, you can come here and change it to date or integer and so on. So this will be very helpful, like how you can change the data type. Then you have a statistical type like nominal, ordinal, continuous, or textual. And then it will show you some what are the values available, some sample records. Okay, then here you can also have an option like it says like what is nominal is unordered discrete values like categories. Ordinal, so you can give the category to your data as well, like what kind of data it is. Contextual is like sentences. Continuous are like numerical, sortable, or continuous values like salaries, dates. So you can select it. Okay, but this is not very frequently used, so that's okay. So this is our first transformation that we did. We created the first name and the last name. Next thing what we will do is we can delete this column as well. So let's delete it. Okay, the column is deleted. So I shown you how you can create a duplicate column, how you can delete a column. Now let's suppose I want a unique identifier. So to create a unique identifier, what I will do, uh, I will concatenate. So I will go to transform, I will concatenate order ID with customer name. Okay, and I will use a hyphen in between like this. So this is my separator when I am doing a concatenation. You can leave it blank, you can put anything over here, any text, and click OK. So this has created my unique identifier. So for example, I need any unique identifier which is combination of 2 to 3 columns. So by using a concatenation we can create it. So it's as simple as that. Another thing you can do is to extract the data. Okay, so for extraction, maybe I'll choose this product category, go to extract option. You can also split it, that is also one option, but to showcase what other options are available in extract. So for example, if you only want to extract the numbers and ignore the words, then you can use number from the given value. Or if you want to only extract the words, you can use word. Or if you want to extract everything, you can select everything. Now from the product code, after, you can write after, you can select after or before or between or containing or equal to. Okay, so what is after? First hyphen. So for example, if I give first hyphen, this is my first hyphen. So after first hyphen, this is the value it is coming. Okay, instead of after, if I select before, this is the value that is coming before first hyphen. Similarly, between. So between, you need to give two values. So first hyphen, second hyphen. So this is my between values. So this way it's very easier to calculate. Containing is basically if some value contain any specific thing, only those things will get calculated. So for example, if I write calculate, and if I give here TV for example, so you see only those values are populated, rest are blank, because TV is not part of others. So TV is only available here, so that is why it is coming. Similarly, equal to is where the data will exactly match. For example, electronics TV, sorry, let me change it to TV and then give it a product as 96. So you see only this is applicable because it is equal to is very rarely used. Okay, so what we will do, we will create a product category and subcategory. To create that, I will use between, and for between I will use, sorry, let me delete this. Okay, so this is my product subcategory. So the product category is electronics already over here, then product subcategory is this one. I'll select OK. You can also have an option to exclude or include. So for example, you include it, then it will include the this one, whatever you are using as a separator or um, for finding. So for example, I'm using hyphen hyphen and I included it, both side it is included. But if I don't want to include it, I can exclude it, it is not included. I click OK. So this is my product subcategory. I will rename it accordingly. Okay, so we have discussed about three of the transformation. Now we will see how we can use a replace option. So under replace option, we have a cell, all value, content, and null, four options. So this will replace the entire cell. This will replace all the values, and this will replace the content. So for example, if you select content in product code, if the content is matching with hyphen, okay, then need to replace with, for example, slash. So here you can see the matching content is replaced by slash wherever it was. Similarly, if any of the data is incorrect, okay, and you want to replace it with another one, so then also you can use this find and replace. It's very simple, like the normal replace. The content is for any word in the cell. Cell is if you want to replace a cell value with another cell value. So for example, if it is a furniture but you want to replace all furniture with electronics, then you can use cell instead of content. And then the all values, if you want to replace all the values with any specific one, then you, whenever you select all values, then you see all the values are replaced with whatever I have selected. Okay, so if you want a constant value for all the values in the column, you can select all values. And if you want to replace all the null values with a specific value, but here we don't have any null value, so it is okay. So we'll go back to content and we'll replace hyphen with this, click OK, and the transformation is applied. Now in case if you applied a transformation which is not required for you, because you said that we created this transformation, but because the separator has changed now, this has gone blank. So what we can do, we can undo this using this button. So undo option is also there, using which you can undo it. So for example, you go here, go to transform, and then change. Now, in case you want all the upper cases, so you see all the names are changed to uppercase, or you want to have a title, as in this case, your name, first name and last name as a title case, you can use title case. Or in case you want everything in lowercase, so using this change option, you can change the value using the case. And we'll see the last option, because this is derived from this column, it will automatically update the other one. Now the last one is, so this is, you see, it's very important, because these two columns I created based on the copy or the duplicate column, that is why it didn't change. But in case if you use the original column and later on you change the original column, the respective derivations, all the derivations will change. So for example, here customer first name and last name I derived from the copy or the duplicate column, not from the original column. If I would have derived it from the original column, then it would also show the capital letters. So that's the importance of creating this duplicate column. Okay. And then we'll see the last one is the filter option. So filter option, you can select if you want to filter out any of the values. For example, filter values in customer name not matching. So let's suppose you want to exclude Rahul Mehta. Okay, so you select Rahul Mehta and click OK. So Rahul Mehta will get excluded. So wherever there is a Rahul Mehta, it will get excluded. Similarly, you have an option for other filtration also, which is matching. We have selected non-matching. We can also match. So when you select Rahul Mehta, it will only show Rahul Mehta. Matching null, that means all the null values will be selected. Not matching null, that means all the null values will get excluded. So we will not perform this operation. Okay, and then we will see. So we have done all kind of transformation using the transform bar. So if the question comes like what are the options to transform or manipulate the data in dataset, there are two options: transform bar and custom expression editor. So custom expression editor, you have more options when you have certain logic based calculations. So here you see, when you go to custom one, this will be your expression, and then um, you can create a new column where you can add the respective values. So here you can write a formula. What are the formulas available? Like normal numeric functions are there, like you want to calculate the maximum, minimum, or you want to concatenate lowercase, uppercase, title case. These are also available in the transform bar, because those are quick ones. But apart from that, it has more functionalities like substring, starting from one place to another. Um, for example, if you want the month from the date, so you select the substring. Okay, substring. So column name you can give as, for example, you give the name as month. Sorry, you give the name as month. Now string is basically your column from which you are going to calculate the month, which is, for example, the order date. Now order date, you see the format of the order date. This is the order date YYYYMMDD. Okay, so it is starting from which position? It is starting from 4 5. uh, then start position will be 6, and length will be, for example, 2. We'll try to see whether it's working or not. So we'll apply this. So it is successful. We'll see where it got added. Here you can see, so the month is derived from the respective date. See, it's very easy. Similarly, you can derive the year as well from the month, because many of the time when we do a visualization, the month or respective year is required. So similarly, Substring split contain is available in the transform bar, but we also like, if we want to calculate the length of the string, position of the string, replace content to string, to change it to string, or start with, end with, all these options are available. Similarly, for date function, you can calculate the date date of the week. So if you go with the date of the week, for example, so day day of week, so name it as day of week, and here you need to select your column, which is order date, and click OK. So it will give you the day of week. What is the day? So day starts in SAP, it starts from Monday. So Monday is your first day and Sunday is your last day. Okay. So here you see day of week. If we see 13th of February 2025 from my calendar, okay, I'll go to February, 13th of February. So which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is coming. Also, in case like you want to, instead of, for example, instead of considering Monday as first day, sometimes you consider Sunday as first day. So in those cases, you can adjust. You can write if else logic as well to adjust that. So all these calculations you can do over here. Now moving to the next one is geo enrichment. Here currently I don't have any geo related fields, but in case you have latitude, longitude, you can select the coordinates, and in the coordinates in the data set you will have the column which will have the latitude value. So you select that column which contains the latitude value. Similarly, you will have one column for longitude, so you can select it and then click OK. So this is fine. Otherwise, you can also go with area name. So in the area name you have multiple options. So in the area name you can select the column in your data set. So whatever column is having the information, with it can be country, it can be region. Okay. Or you can also specify from a list of countries or region. So for example, you can select a specific country only from this list, so you can use that. So you only want to show a specific region instead of multiple regions, then you can select this option. But if you have a dynamic region based on your data set, then you go with this one and select the column that have the information. So if you have a region sub-region, then you can select the region sub-region from here. Once you select this, it will get enabled, and you can select the state or the country. So I will cancel this because my data set doesn't contain this information. We'll see how we can create a level based hierarchy now. So in the level based hierarchy, for example, I will consider uh, a region as my first level. Under region, I have the product code as my second level, and sorry, not product code. I have product category as my second level, and then the product subcategory as my third level. So within the region, I have electronics, furniture, groceries, and within this category, I have subcategory. I'll click OK. I'll name this as my product. Okay, product revenue or something, you can name it. I'll just give product. So my hierarchy is created. I will. So when you click create a hierarchy, it doesn't remove any of the column. It will stay as is. Only the hierarchy will be linked to this. Now there is also an option. So let me just close this bar. There is also an option to create a to transpose the columns to rows. Okay, so how you can do that? I don't have any suitable example over here, but let me try. Let me try with product category. If I select this, okay. So what will happen if you come here? You see you have a product category and the respective name of the product category. Because here we already have a product category as a column, it doesn't make any sense, or it is not that helpful. But in case you have multiple columns and you want to transpose it to rows, then it will be more beneficial. So as I said, an example, you have January to December in the column. So for example, here you have a count. Okay, so here you have a count written, and this count is for January, February, March, April. So all 12 months count is in one line then, but instead you want 12 different lines. So in that cases, you can select all those 12 lines and transpose it. Okay, so I will undo this because this is not helpful for me. And then this one is like you can remove a duplicate, so you just select this one. If any duplicate records will be there, so zero duplicates are there. Now this is to re-import the data. As I said, once you are done with the model, you can later on, if any data is changed in the backend or your source, you can re-import it. Also, what all transformations you have applied, you can check from here. So a lot of transformations we have applied to our data. So all these transformations are available from this list, and you can remove the transformation from the descending order. Like the latest transformation you delete, then it will allow you to delete this. You can't delete anything from between. So we will also create one more column, and we'll see like how we can do mathematical operation. So here we have the quantity and the unit price. So let's calculate the total cost. Okay, so we need to go to the custom expression editor, and we can just simply write a new column name. So we can write it as total amount, and then we can write the formula. The total amount is basically your unit price into quantity. So this is the formula. That press enter, and then we'll see. Just let's hide this. Okay, close this. So you can see there is the unit price 150. Let me rearrange this. So this is okay. Okay. So here you can see the quantity is 8 and the unit price is 150. So we are getting the amount accordingly. Okay. So like this, you can create the measures as well, and also the dimensions if needed based on the requirement. Okay. So we'll save this, and we'll quickly see like how this data will appear in a story. So this save now. I'll go to a story. So we'll not discuss much about story because our focus for today's session is dataset. So we'll just simply use any of the story to see the data from the dataset, because we did some, we created a hierarchy, we created some calculations. So we'll see like how those are appearing, especially the hierarchy thing. Okay. So instead going with any of the chart, we will just simply use any table. We'll just insert it. Okay, so go and select your model. You can select your model, or you can also select a data set. In our case, it's a data set, so we'll select a data set. So what is our data set? Our data set is sales order data. Just select it. So the data is selected. Now how we can visualize the data? So we will add all the measures that is available. So we'll add all the measures, and in the dimension we are interested in the hierarchy that we have created. So we will select our hierarchy, whose name is product. So if I select the product, so even the question can come that if you want to aggregate the data based on combination of multiple columns, what is the option you can use in dataset? So the option is create a level based hierarchy. So here you can see all the data based on the three columns that we have used for level based hierarchies are aggregated. Total 502 quantities, this many unit prices, this is the total amount. Now if I drill down, I can see the east, north, south, west data. Similarly, within east, if I go further down, I can see the respective product category, and within that product category, I'll be able to see the respective subcategory. So this is very useful, how we can create a hierarchy and how quickly we can create these kind of reports using a data set. Okay, so this is all about the data set. So what we will summarize what we quickly learned about the data set. So data set can be embedded. That means you can directly use the data set in your story, or it can be public. So public data set you can share and reuse. You can share with the other users. The connection wise, you can use the import connection as well as the live connection for data sets. You can't schedule a job for data set refresh. So in case your data changes in the backend of the source, you need to manually re-import the data. Okay. And other thing is, in case like if your data type is incorrectly identified by the system. For example, as I said, here you see there is one option. So if there is a year or a month, and because there is a number 1 to 12, and system understands it as a measure, then you can change it. So so here it is correct. But for example, if it is identified as a measure, so then you can change it to dimension using this. Sometimes the ID, for example, order ID is all number. So when system sees the number, it understands this is some quantity or amount or something. So it assign it to measures. If that happens, you need to check. For example, day of the week. Day of the week is not a measure. Day of the week is like which is the week. So in this case, you need to change it. You need to change it, and then it will come to the dimension side. Similarly, it can happen to dimension as well. Like something is not a dimension, but it is showing under dimension, then you can change it to measure from here. Okay. So, so this is all. And there are two types of transformation available, that is transform bar and custom expression editor. So these are the questions. Question number one: what must you use to transform the data in dataset using if then else logic? So where you can do this. Your options are calculation editor, custom expression editor, formula bar, or transform bar. Question 2. You have a data set that extracts data from SAP BW. The data in the SAP BW changes. How you can update the data set? So these are your options. You can pause the video and check your options, and you can note it down your answers. We will discuss the solution in the next video. You import data into dataset. One of the column imported is year. The SAP Analytics Cloud interpret is as a measure. How you can ensure that it is treated as a calendar year? You need to delete characters from a column in dataset. What can you use? Your embedded dataset in SSC has column of country, region, city, and customer name. You want to aggregate measure for these columns as a single column. What can you do? What is the property of public dataset? Which dataset type does SAP Analytics Cloud support? So these are the 7 questions for today's session. We'll discuss the solution in the upcoming video. What are limitations of dataset? So what are limitations of datasets? So these are the questions for today's session. We will discuss the solution in the upcoming video. Yeah. So this is all for today's session. Hope you like the video. If yes, please subscribe to the channel. Give your support. In case of any queries, put your questions in the comment section. We'll come up with the next video very soon. Till then, stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.